Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this YouTube channel. My name is Danye and today we're going to talk a little bit about why you should focus on macronutrients and not just calories for whatever nutrition lifestyle you choose.
Welcome back to Fitness Empowerment by Danye, a brand dedicated to flexible nutrition, macronutrient tracking, and a lifestyle without unhealthy extremes.
Okay, so it's been a while since I posted a video on YouTube. Hopefully you guys aren't too mad at me for that, but there have just been a lot of other priorities, things like planning my wedding and getting a new business off the ground and just a ton of other stuff going on. So I'm going to do my best to be more consistent on here and try to get back to posting once a week. But I'm getting married in January, so no complete promises there. But I do enjoy making videos and putting out content for you, so it is going to be a bigger focus of mine from now on. But the topic at hand, so I'm having my sister Heather, thank you so much, help me out with creating an ebook, because I've found that with all of the videos I've done that you haven't seen, because I've done a lot of videos for my clients recently, and they've been more like audio podcast style, which I really have enjoyed doing. They're a little bit longer. They end up being somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes, just depending on the topic at hand. And I find that when I take time and sit down and write these narratives out and kind of my talking points before I film them, it ends up being usually like 5, 6, 7 pages long. And so I thought, well, this is ridiculous. Why am I not repurposing this and putting it into a book form, a narrative? Because some people don't want to listen. Some people really enjoy reading. So I'm taking the knowledge that I have just gained myself, and whether it's been from reading books through my ACE certification or other books that I read through the Diet Doc or anything like that, online, listening to other podcasts, through all of these other mediums and avenues, I take that and then my personal experiences, I combine them, and that is going to become an ebook in the future. So she is editing some of those for me, and part of her editing process, she's 17, and so she doesn't have a huge background in the fitness industry like I do. She is more of the arts and theater and drama background. So I'm having her read through and give me kind of her perspective, because I want this book to be understandable for anybody of any age. And so if my 17-year-old sister doesn't understand it, clearly I haven't done a good enough job of explaining it. So she brought something to my attention yesterday, and that was, Danye, why does it matter if you're counting calories or macronutrients? I just don't get it. And I went, oh my gosh, this seems like so elementary to me, but then I forget I've been doing this for several years, and it's just second nature to me. That's something that I definitely have to do a better job of explaining. So calories versus macronutrients, what's the big deal? So calories, you see so many diets that cut calories, get into a 500 calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight. Calories in versus calories out. Yes, it's all well and good. Calories are important, don't get me wrong. Everything you eat or drink, minus like water, has some sort of calories in it. Within your calories, though, calories are not all created equal. Within your calories, you have macronutrients and micronutrients. So your macronutrients are really what I like to focus on with my clients when it comes to tracking. So macronutrients are your fats, your carbs, and your proteins. And then you have alcohol as well as a separate macronutrient, but I usually just have my clients track alcohol as a carb or as a fat, just depending on what they have left in their macronutrient budget. So depending on the types of macronutrients or types of calories that you're intaking throughout the day, you will have a different body composition than somebody else. So this is not geared towards anybody on like a ketogenic diet, but for the most part, so say you have somebody who's taking in a very high fat, very high carb, very low protein diet, and they're eating 2,000 calories. And then say you have somebody over here who is also eating 2,000 calories and they're on a high protein, moderate carb, low fat diet. You're gonna see two very different body compositions between those people. Granted, there's a lot of other stuff that can come into play, like genetics and nutritional factors, your just lifestyle factors in general. Are you a very active person? Are you doing like a waitressing job where you're just on your feet, go, go, go all the time? Or do you sit at a desk all day long? Are you just very sedentary? Those kinds of things take a huge toll in, what happens with your body composition just because of the activity levels. So it's definitely important to consider the different types of calories that you're taking in, because it's going to affect your body differently and it's going to have a different outcome for you. And then there are so many other things that could come into play, like when you eat the calories and how much you're eating of them, in the different macronutrients. But the bottom line here, to keep this short, is that your macronutrients are different than your calories. And say like 1 gram of protein is worth 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates is also worth 4 calories, but 1 gram of fat is worth 9 calories. So you're gonna feel a lot more full when you take in a lot of fats, but fats are not your body's preferred energy source. Carbohydrates are. So when you take in your carbs, you're going to use them more quickly. Your body's going to go straight to the carb source first instead of burning fat, because that's the body's preferred fuel source. It just is what it is. And so unless there's a proper form of glycogen and carb depletion, you're not really going to get to those fats as quickly as you would. Then if you're on something like a ketogenic diet where it's very, very high fat, moderate protein, almost negligible carbs, that's a totally different story. And they're still doing a lot of research on the effects of those kinds of diets and why you maybe should or shouldn't use those. My personal opinion is that if you don't have a medical reason to, I wouldn't suggest it, because it's not necessarily long-term sustainable unless you want to make it a lifestyle. However, I do have clients and close family friends that are on ketogenic lifestyles and they love it, but they're also doing that because they have to. So they don't really have a ton of other options. So if you can cut out carbs and not miss them and not go crazy and binge on them every week, maybe it's a great option for you. And there have been a couple of bodybuilders who have been on that high fat, moderate protein, low carb diet, and they've seen really great body composition success with that, and they've been able to maintain it and lose weight. So there is some, there's just not a ton of research out there on it, so hopefully that'll come through in the future. But right now what we know is that calories in versus calories out, yes, it determines a weight loss for the most part. And then when you're more specific about the macronutrients, that's going to determine the body composition. So it's not just enough to lose weight anymore. You want to lose fat for the most part. Is when people want to lose weight, they're not necessarily, they don't say, oh, I want to lose weight and think I want to lose muscle. No, they want to lose fat. Like, there are very few people who, I don't know of anybody who's ever come up to me and said, hey, I want to lose weight, but I want to keep the fat. Your body does need some fat, but it doesn't need a ton of fat. It's more important to focus on keeping the muscle. So your organs and everything your body needs a little bit of fat. Like, for things to function, for your brain to function, we need some fat in there. But it is not necessarily the priority for those who are looking to be on some sort of a diet or a weight loss journey. It's not just to lose weight in general. It's more specifically to lose fat. So when you have that kind of a goal in mind, it is more important to focus on more than just the calories and to focus on the macronutrients and the micronutrients as well. Make sure you're getting enough fibrous carbs. Make sure you're getting some starchy and some sugar carbs. There's a right time and a right place for all of these things. So I'm going to end that here. I didn't want this video to go too long, but the bottom line is it is important to have a focus on more than just calories and to think about the other things, the macronutrients, the micronutrients. What are you getting in terms of benefit from a bunch of different types of foods? So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions or you would like further clarification on calories versus macronutrients, please let me know. I would love to answer your questions down in the comment section below. Other than that, make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and I will see you next time.
Be empowered to make a change in your life and take the next step on your health and fitness journey.